Hello, and welcome to another Enrichment with the Gifted Guy. Today, what we're going to be talking about is how to play the word game known as Wordle. So, Wordle is a great game for building your vocabulary as well as using your logic skills. So, it's going to get you thinking as well as learning new words, possibly. And so, the way that Wordle works is, as you can see here, you have to guess the Wordle word in 6 tries. It's always a 5-letter word, and letters can repeat. And depending upon when you put in different letters and then check it, then it will reveal a color. And the color will either be green, yellow, or gray. If you get a gray tile, it means that that word is not found anywhere in the word. So you should stop using that letter because it will not appear in the word that you're looking for. If you get a yellow tile, it means, yes, that letter is in the word, but it's not in the proper location. So if you put it in the first spot, it's in another spot than other than what you put in there. And then if you get a green letter, that means that you have the correct letter in the correct spot. And so how this works is you put in just a random 5-letter word and you use that to try to determine. So you find out what letters are there, which are not, then you use other letters to make other words. And so it really helps work on your spelling and your vocabulary because you have to find words that you can't just put random words in. They have to be words that actually exist. So they can't be random letters. And so let me show you how this works. So when we're looking at Wordle, it looks something like this. And so again, you start by putting a 5-letter word. It can be any 5-letter word you want. However, the more vowels you use, the better off you are because all words contain vowels. And since there's 5 of them, A, E, I, O, U, as many as those you can use, you'll most likely locate the vowel that you need. Okay? And sometimes Y, don't forget that one. So you want to pick a word that has a lot of vowels. So the word that, and people have different go-to words. And so mine is typically the word stare. And I can actually put this stare as well. Because there are 2 vowels in there, I have a good idea of whether they're going to be there or not. So if I submit that stare, what I see is that the I and the R are indeed in the word. They're just not in the right place. So the logic next is when I make my second guess, I don't really have enough letters to be able to give me the whole word. So there are 2 different types of strategies. One strategy is to move the R and the I around to see if you can locate where it's at. So I might put in a word like RIPES. So ripes. The R and the I have been moved. And so if I put that in, then it's going to let me know if I'm correct this time. So I'm still not correct, although I do know there's an E now. So there's an R, an I, and an E. They're all in the wrong place. Another strategy you can use is to put in a word with the letters that you have remaining, not using any of the letters that you found. The reason why is it gives you 5 guesses on a letter. So if you keep putting the R, I, and E in, sure, you'll find out where it's located, but you only have 2 other letters in that word. And so you have a better chance of locating the other letters that you need if you put in words that aren't using those letters. So for example, let's take what I have here. So if I put F, U, N, D, S. Now I know I've already used the S, but you have to make actual words. So, but if I put that in, I'll get to see if any of those come up. And the U and the N come up. So now I have all of my letters. Okay. So all my letters are U, N, I, E, R. So I have all 5 of them. So now I need just to do is scramble them to make sure that I put them in the right place. And so I could start, but again, it's got to be a word. So I might start with the un. I may put N, And then I have to figure out if there's a word I can make out of the R-I-E, and it says not a word. So I have to start over again, or not start over, but I have to try it another way. So I could put I-R-E, that's not a word. And so what I'm starting to figure out pretty quick by doing this is that the UN is probably not in the right place, okay? So what I want to do is I want to try to figure out what word is in here. So let's go ahead and try N-I-R-U-E. These are all the letters, but again, it's not a word. So one thing I do like to do as a strategy is I like to put all the letters up here that are the correct letters, and then I can look at it to see if I can unscramble them, okay? So if I put I-N, oops, sorry, go back, I-N-U-R-E, that's a word, okay? Uses all 5 of the letters, it doesn't have any letters in the same place. And this is not a common word that I would use. And so I'm learning a new vocabulary word. And so when I put submit it in, you can see that that one is correct. And so what you get then when you finish is you get this, oh, congratulations, you did well, okay? And then you can start another one. So, and again, strategies are, so I may change my strategy this time to use a different starting word. And I put that in there and I see that only the E is the only one that should belong. So then I might want to do this, which uses different letters. So they're using that strategy. So I'm moving the E, but I'm using a lot of different other letters. And I know the E is now in the right place. And so you can use logic with prefixes and suffixes. So usually if you have an E that's second to last, then the other word is going to be an R. So let's take a look if that is the case. So I'm going to put in, oh, by the way, and we know that the E is used, and we know that the O does not belong and the A does not belong, but it leaves us the U and the I. So the question is, can we put a word in here that is going to, so I can put in runner, but that's not a word because that's 2 N's. And so you're starting to learn your spelling as well because you're seeing what words, how to spell different words. And so, so I want to, let me see, R-U, and I got to think of a letter that would go here that if I put the ER here, that would make sense. So I could put rudder, but that's not a word either because that has 2 T's. So I can just experiment with this and see. I know it's probably not a, I mean, you rarely are going to use the Q, W, Z, or X, but you will occasionally. And the other thing that's tough is that sometimes you use a word more than once. So in other words, or letter more than once. So if I use the E goes in here, it might be, it might go there, and then another E may go somewhere else. So, but in this case, that's not going to be. So I'm going to go R, U, and I'm just going to do random letters instead of trying to find that. And then we'll see if these show up. Okay, so now I know the I is correct. I know the E is correct. I know the R goes probably at the end where I said, because it's a suffix. And so we're probably looking at ER. So basically what you're working, and I just, again, will put in, sometimes I'll put in things I know don't make any sense, just to have the IER. And then to see what's left, okay? And so I could put, for example, I could put fryer, but that's not that is a word. So we'll see if this one works. So I have the E in the right place, hopefully the R and the I in the right place, and I'm using 2 R's here. So let's take a look. Oh, no, the R does not go where I thought it went. It does not go at the end. But now I've eliminated that. So I know the R, I, E are all correct. So I could be T, R, I, E, and then I try to see if there's a letter I haven't used. And so we're going to use tried. We'll see if that is the correct one. And I'm correct. I got it in 5 spots. So let that be a lesson that when you're doing Wordle, you're looking for words that make sense. And so you have to be able to spell really well. You have to be able to know words. You also can, like, I didn't realize that fryer was a word spelled like that. And so I'm kind of learning new words as well. So again, you can put Wordle on your iPad, you can put it on your phone, but it's an easy thing to pull out and just kind of. They have daily Wordles where you try to figure out as you try to get as many. So when we're looking at this, the score goes higher if you solve it in 2 tries rather than 3 or 4 or 5. You get a plus for every one that you don't use. And so if you could figure out the word really quickly, like in 2, then you're going to get a higher score. So they have daily Wordles, and they just have also, they have like random Wordles where you can just play and play and play like I'm doing with this one right here. And so Wordle, again, you might want to give it a try. It's for all ages. You can, but it's going to build vocabulary. It's going to build your logic muscles because you have to figure out what letters go where, what letters are left. And so it's also eliminating what doesn't belong, try to figure out what does belong. So it uses deductive reasoning. And so it teaches a lot of skill. So have fun playing Wordle.